Gentlemen, welcome to the 142nd ever episode of the Dex Podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm PokeKellz.
What's up, homies? We're here. We just got up. We missed the Splatoon Direct this morning.
That's okay.
It's okay. It looks really cool.
I mean, we're on West Coast, so like
Yeah.
it's really early when it's direct.
But we walked Wallace. We had a good morning.
Yeah,
we
it
had
was
some
nice.
coffee. We're hanging out, and now we're here for the Dex Podcast. If you've never listened to this before, welcome. This is a Pokemon podcast, the official Pokemon podcast of the Dex on YouTube. We're chilling out. But before we get started with everything else that we're going to do today, i.e. news, i.e. FANSWERS, i.e. whatever the heck else, we got a lot of news. We've been gone for a week because my computer died. Sad boys. But as usual, everything is in flux, so it's okay. But before we get fully started, let me just ask you one quick question.
Hey, how was your Pokemon week?
I don't know how long to wait for this stinger yet. I haven't
I think maybe we were a bit too long.
I just haven't ingrained it in my mind.
that?
I don't know. I just don't know.
That's okay.
Maybe we'll
it'll
use
get
the
there.
Guzma one if it's too much of a wait. We have a longer Guzma one for emergencies. So how was your Pokemon week?
It was actually really awesome. I'm gonna be including the last 2 weeks in Poke Week because I was in New York for like a day and a half.
Yes.
I'd never been to New York before, so I was very, very excited, and I was very, very giddy because before I decided to do Pokemon and animal hospital work, I was like a musical theater major, and so it was really cool to like go to New York.
Showed up
and
with
be
your
like,
small
it was like
and your
wish
tap shoes.
It was wish fulfillment, and I was definitely like NYC. Just got here this morning, and so I was really like giddy the whole time, excited. I got to see Jimmy Wetzel. That was exciting. Got to see Satchel Drakes. Both have channels on
boys.
YouTube that you should
bros.
check out. Both incredibly nice people. And we got to see Central Park, which was chill, and then I got to go to the Nintendo World Store, which was tight.
Yeah.
And so I got 3 plushies from the Nintendo World Store, and it's kind of a funny story of me going there because we went there.
This was the weirdest thing
I know,
I've
it was
ever
very,
heard in my
very
life.
strange.
Yeah.
We went there, and I like go upstairs, and I'm like, they don't really have a huge selection of Pokemon stuff right now. It's just like a little corner. It used to be the Pokemon World Store, and it used to be like a Pokemon Center, the whole thing, all 2 floors of it. But now they just have a corner on the 2nd floor that's dedicated to Pokemon, and all the other Nintendo properties are like all over the store, which is fine. But like, you know, the more Pokemon, the merrier for me. But anyway, I was looking at their like plushie tower, and I was like, all this stuff is from Gen 6. Like, what's the deal here? And I was just kind of like looking. I was like, I don't really see any plushies that I really like. But oh, look, there's a Chestnut plushie. I'll grab this one for Alex because he loves Chestnut. And so I grabbed the Chestnut plushie. I bought it. He's really cute.
He looks great.
It's a really, really cute little plushie.
He sits down really well.
So I like went downstairs because I needed like a shirt. So I like got myself a shirt. I was picking that out. And then I like went back upstairs to meet back up with the people I was with. And I like looked over at the plushie section, and they'd all been shuffled and restocked. And now there were...
How much time are we talking about here?
I was down there for maybe like 15 minutes or so. It like they must have, as soon as I grabbed that plushie and took it off the shelf and went downstairs, as soon as I was out of eye shot, they must have put all these plushies on the shelf. But anyway, when I came back, there was like Jolteon, Flareon, there was a Alolan Pokemon now, there was Ninetales, and I was like, oh, when did these get here? And so I like grabbed them, Ninetales. I grabbed the Ninetales, and I was like, well, I'm going to get that one for sure, and I bought that. And then later on, when we went back to the store, like 5 hours later, I went back upstairs again, and then there were new plushies out.
That's too
and
much.
And so at that point, I was like, what? And then I saw Alolan Sandshrew, and I had to get a Alolan Sandshrew because, come on, like that one's the cutest one of them all. And then the continuation of the story is later on when we were doing a event after the store closed, inside the store.
Right.
And they gave us like some like food to like eat before we did the thing. And they were like, oh, go down to our break room, which is like down in our basement. And so I got to go to the basement of the of the Nintendo World Store. But another thing was like when I was like downstairs, like I was passing by all these boxes, and there was a bunch of plushies that weren't even out in the store. So I just feel like they just like pop new ones in there whenever. So it's like luck of the draw. Whenever you go in there, you get there.
That's some Disneyland business. I don't know. That's crazy.
But it was exciting. It was really, but it was really fun and exciting, and it was cool to see like the back end of the Nintendo World Store too. And then I did a stream. I was part of a Hasbro brand deal talking about a game called Monopoly Gamer. And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. If you want to like watch that, you can see the VOD of the stream. I spilled water on the game board,
Tsunami Kells.
ruining it. Tsunami Kells.
It was
fun, though.
It was
Worked out.
basically like Monopoly Junior meets Mario Kart. It's a really cool game.
It's a fun game. Yeah. But that was mostly my Pokemon week. So I ended up with a substitute plush blanket. I ended up with a Chestnut, a Ninetales, and a Sandshrew plushies.
Yeah. I was really busy the past couple weeks, but a little while ago, last weekend, I was at the office overnight because we did Super Drunk Bros, which is an awful show that we make on Super Beard Bros. And I was there all weekend hanging out, and I was able to watch a lot of the internationals in Indianapolis, the VGC stuff, and that was really cool. So I was able to like check out some matches. I saw some new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That metagame, dude, it just keeps fluctuating, and it's so cool to see. Like, I mean, you're still getting your greatest hits, like your Garchomps and stuff, but like there's a lot of Snorlax action going on this time. There's a lot of stuff. And then you were saying that there was a competition where?
I can't remember. I think it was like in Peru or it was some Latin America country because it was like a Latin America championship thing.
Sure.
It wasn't the nationals that took place there, but it was like another tournament.
Half the teams were monotype.
Monotype. Yeah, there were more than half of the top 8 teams were monotype teams.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to see what's going to happen at Worlds. Worlds is basically like the last chance for everybody to like do anything this season, obviously. Mm-hmm. So like you'll see the real team finally after like months and months. Yeah. I mean, some people just bring the team that they've been playing with, but like I love it when some of the better players like roll out like their secret best team.
Sure. I mean, because they've been practicing all year using teams, adjusting their teams, and like this is the last one. So like they pull out all the stops. So.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit.
We will actually, because there was
more later,
some
but
cool info about
it was
that.
It was a really good tournament. The broadcast was really good. Shout outs to everybody involved. Ray Rizzo is always holding it down. Gabby Snyder doing a great job.
A couple more Pokemon Week stuff that I forgot to say.
Sure.
You might be pleased to hear that Hilda and I finally recorded the second episode of the Pokemon Adventures podcast.
Yes, you did.
So that'll be up.
That's
soon.
coming out soon.
That's coming out soon. So keep your ears peeled for that.
Yep.
And then the last thing. What was the last thing? There was one last thing.
I don't know.
There was one. Oh, I organized all my Pokemon cards. Finally.
Oh yeah.
Finally organized my Pokemon cards by expansion, and shout outs to Chugga Conroy, who is trying to collect every single Pokemon card that's ever been in print. I'm going to be helping him out by sending him some duplicates. If you have a bunch of Pokemon cards, he has like a doc online that you can find somewhere. I'm not sure how to find it, but I'm sure that there are ways
you just ask him or you check
find
his Twitter. Yeah.
Serious offers only, but like if you have some old extra cards and stuff, I'm sure he would appreciate it if you look through his list and see that you have something he doesn't have.
I don't want to like expand your workload, but under the bed
there are more cards. I know
there's thousands more cards.
Really? I thought those were all yours. Those are your responsibility.
I don't care though. I don't need to, like, if you want to give him cards, go ahead. Like I respect the idea of wanting to collect them all. I respect it. So
yeah, it's cool. I mean, he's got a long way to go. I've been like kind of following the list that he's been making, but like I feel like this is definitely an achievable goal. And we have a lot of the really old cards too. I was like looking up, I was organizing all the ones like before Gen 2,
right.
Like the Gen 1 base set cards, and like we have tons of them. So you got lots of cards, man.
Another thing that's been going on slowly but surely is that we've just been like cleaning our office and like getting it ready, and we're pretty ready to like move back into it and like go ham super hard on Pokemon content. So I know I say this all the time. It's been like over a year, but I just like, it's just so slow going when it's like I'm just constantly working on YouTube stuff. So please bear with me. I hear you in the Discord. I know that you guys feel like we're not there enough, and I agree, but also I don't feel bad because what we have planned for the Discord, I've been finalizing some stuff with Ryan Tatum over the last couple weeks, and man, it's like I'm really excited about like the next couple weeks. Like first, I'm gonna go all over the world for like weeks and weeks, and that's gonna be crazy. Starting next Thursday, I leave for Evo, and then I'm just gone basically till like the first week of August. We're just like gonna go to Evo. The very next day after we get back from Evo, we're leaving for London. We fly to London for a week. We get back. We're there for a day. I'm going on a trip with my friend who just finished law school, and he'll have just taken the bar, and we're gonna go before he becomes a public defender. We're gonna like go eat every slice of pizza in New York for
You'll
a couple
die.
days.
You'll die.
We
You'll
have
explode.
we have ground rules.
Okay.
We were like, we don't want to like accidentally go to one good place and eat like 9 slices. So we have a ground rule of like 1 slice per person per place, and we have to walk between them. And if it's an emergency, we can split 1 more slice between us. If it's an emergency.
Wow. An emergency, like you're really hungry, or like an emergency, like they're like, you need to buy 1 more piece of pizza. Or
No,
else
like
you
we're
have to
like
get out.
no, like we're like, oh crap, this is the best pizza I've ever had.
I see.
Here's the one pizza pie that we couldn't get.
Wow. So you're going on an actual pizza tour.
We're actually going on a pizza journey. My boy Satchel's gonna help us out.
Nice.
So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's going on. And then right after that, like 3 days later, we leave for Minneapolis. Which, listeners, if you're in the Midwest, head to Minneapolis August 5th and 6th for Minnesota PokeCon.
This is going to be a fun one. We're going to
Yeah.
have a lot of stuff that we do at this one. It's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's a Pokemon themed one, so we're gonna do some serious business, and we're gonna have merch for once.
Yeah.
we never have merch for sale in person, but we're gonna have merch for sale at this. So please come on down. Go to I think it's mnpokecon.com.
Right.
I think. Do you want to just hop up and shut that door or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what that is. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's like somebody's like using like a saw or something outside.
I think it's one of those things that cuts the grass.
Oh yeah, like a grass. Yeah. But it was a little tinny, so I just didn't want him to like be in the mics. Okay. So, without any further ado then, if we're done with the Pokemon week, do you have anything else?
I'm across the room.
Okay, but do you have anything else for your Pokemon week?
No.
Okay, well then, without any further ado, let's jump into the news.
Welcome to the news, darlings.
I feel like that was like a really, a very like solid one.
Yeah.
Like if you were going to use an example of one of those to show someone what it's like when I
If
say
you're
the
like,
news.
if you're like with your friends and you're like, oh my gosh, this dude that I listen to this podcast, and this dude on this podcast every week they intro the
does
news
this
and he does
really
it really
dumb thing,
weird.
yeah.
And your friends are like, he can't be that weird, and you're like, oh no, just
No, it's
wait.
weird, dude.
This is the episode to show them.
This
That's
is
how
the
I
episode
feel.
to show them? You thought it was super weird?
It was really like, it was
right.
quintessential.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's
But
a
it
weird
is
one.
weird, and you cannot say that it's not
Look,
weird
I'm
because it's
I'm
so,
definitely
so
weird. I'm just saying I don't think this was a particularly weird one. I think it was the opposite.
I see.
I think it was a very middle of the road news.
Middle of the weird.
Middle of the we've been talking about this for a minute and a half. Okay. Pokemon Sun and Moon news first. Let's go. Another global mission is underway, and it's going to be running until July 11th. That's a few more days from now. The global mission requires you to defend your champion title at the Pokemon League, which means basically just like after beating the game, go fight the Pokemon League a few more times. And if you haven't done that before, I really encourage you to do it anyway, just because I don't want to. I mean, we can talk about this now. It's been almost a year.
Yeah.
After you beat the Elite Four and you become the champion, when you get to the champion, instead of it being the same champion that you fought last time, aka Kakui, who wasn't even really the champion so much as he was just like...
You're just like, well, you need to fight somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Now, a random list of people come to challenge you, and some of them are people that you know, some of them are like hilarious jokes, some of them are just like cool trainers that you're like, I want to know that guy's backstory. But you should go do it. Our collective goal is to do that 100,000 times, which will gain us the usual reward of 2,000 or 4,000 festival coins, depending on whether or not you register with the global link, which, guys, register with the global link.
I mean,
what are you doing?
How can you not?
It's so easy. It's so easy. As usual, if you will participate, and if we get double the goal, you will also receive rare candies, and this time, the very cool Moon Ball.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to get into the like F-it rewards for base Sun and Moon. I feel like we're a couple months away from Ultra Sun and Moon. I feel like they're really starting to like ramp it up with the like good stuff now. And I think that continues. Like a Moon Ball is like a very desirable Pokeball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially in Sun and Moon, everyone's like, ooh, the aesthetic.
That's what I'm saying. But that's not even it because there's more craziness to come. So the next battle competition is called the Weakness Cup. This is pretty cool. It's a double battle competition. Originally, it was reported as a single battle competition. It is actually a double battle competition using only Pokemon that have 5 or more weaknesses.
Very
So
exciting.
that's, it's like going to be a lot of dual types, a lot of ice types, a lot of fighting types. The only items allowed are the weakness policy and berries that weaken a super effective type attack. So like, the
Rindo berry.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the Rindo berry because I love water ground Pokemon, and so that Rindo berry, like
that's the anti-grass one.
It saves your life sometimes.
Yeah, so that's going to be some pretty interesting team construction. Signups start July 20th and run for a week till July 27th. That's going to be while we are. Where am I going to be? London that whole time, pretty much. And participate in battles from July 28th, which is a Friday, all the way to July 30th. That's literally the time that I'm going to be in New York, which is a bummer because I was kind of hoping to be able to stream those battles this time for once, but maybe I will anyway. Maybe I'll just try. Maybe I'll just get my laptop and try my best. All participants will get, this is crazy. All participants will get the Altarionite, which is good, Ampharisite, which is the one we've been waiting for, and then also Latios and Latiasite.
Nice.
That's pretty hype.
That is very cool.
Not that I really care about megas anymore, but that's hype.
You want the stones.
I'm also very excited to see what VGC 18 is like.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see because why would they give us all these things?
Unless it's a wild and crazy time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. But yeah, sorry, I just got 2 phone calls from somebody that just hung up immediately after calling.
Weird.
There's something wrong with my phone, man. For the first time in a while, though, 2 Pokemon 3DS themes have been made available in the Nintendo eShop. The first is Look Upon the Stars.
Very cute one.
Which is a strange, Cosmog and Pikachu, astronomy themed.
It's super cute.
Theme.
It's super, super
They're
cute, guys.
looking up at the night sky. There's telescopes involved and astrolabes, and it's got Pokemon constellations.
It's so cute.
It's really cute. It's really it feels like the branding for a tournament or something. I don't even know what it's supposed to.
You know what? Yeah, I kind of feel you on that.
Yeah, I don't know, but it also uses the Hey Hey City nighttime music, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is Pokemon Pop, which has this cute Pokemon artwork. It's in different style, and it uses the Mission in Progress music from the Ultra Beast quest.
Yeah,
both of these are cool.
It's cute. It's chibi a little bit, but it's also kind of comic booky.
Yeah, but as much as I like them, I just feel it's hard to change your 3DS theme.
At this point, I mean, it's been so long.
I mean, Switch theme, we got 1, we got 2. That's it. There's nothing else going on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy.
And it's at
They're
this
very
point,
binary.
I'm really attached to the themes that I've had. So, I mean, I wouldn't, but I mean, at this point, how?
How do you do that?
How could you?
After all this time, how are you able to do it? And what are the steps that you would take?
Though, I would spring for the Look Upon the Stars. Let me tell you that.
Are you going to?
Because
you just said you
I don't
would.
know, how could I do that?
Because you just said you would.
I know. I just
Can I just say
I love it. I like it. I love it.
Can I bust the Game Chasers and say no nuts on that?
I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. But how could I after all this time?
Yeah, send your responses to thedexcast@gmail.com. Also, one last thing for Sun and Moon-ish. The newest expansion for the Pokemon TCG is featuring Necrozma, which is the crazy Zygarde-esque character from this game. And it's going to be released on August 4th. That's pretty soon. This is a huge expansion. It's got 140 cards, and it's called Sun and Moon Burning Shadows. I think this is the one that's going to bridge the gap for us between Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon.
I was looking at some of the TCG top 8 teams.
Yeah.
And you can still use cards from some really old expansions.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change all year.
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe once it gets updated again, these expansions have been so huge that maybe they're gonna be okay, Sun and Moon only now from now on for next year.
No way, you think so?
Well, I don't know. They've done that before where they've been okay, well, this and back is no longer usable.
I predict they're gonna cut it off. I think they're gonna cut it off at Fates Collide if I had to guess, but maybe not. We'll see. Maybe they'll cut it off at Generations.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there was this deck I was looking at it's only got Suicune and Wailord in it.
Oh, it's like a deck
and
out
there's
deck.
no energy. It's a mean deck, but it's effective.
It's like a blue deck from Magic. It's all about just putting away the opponent's cards, just wrecking them. Which I mean isn't a bad strat. It's just a very if I was playing against that deck and I was on stage at a tournament, I would start soliloquizing.
I'd be oh my god.
Oh, I'd be oh good. I'd be like Christian Bale in Terminator Salvation. Remember that? Children, remember that? Old people who are the same age as
When
you.
Christian Bale like had to freak out.
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago or something. It sucks that was that long ago. I'm an old man.
Yeah.
But now for some Pokemon Go news. It's been a bit since the last podcast. It's only been 2 weeks. Thank you very much. 1 week even. We just skipped one podcast. Thank you very much. And in that time, there was a big update to Pokemon Go. A ton of new features have been added to the game in the past few weeks, mostly related to collaborative play in gyms. Kelly has really been mobilized by this. I think that when I start traveling and I have the foresight to actually charge my phone for once, that it will be a lot more exciting to me. But I think I might just need to get a new phone because my phone just like
honestly, I was playing yesterday. There was like a raid happening like at the office, and I was like, Alex, just give me your phone, I'll do it. And he had 10% left. By the time I had loaded Pokemon Go and like was getting ready to battle, he had 6% left. And let me tell you, it was only like a minute.
That's what I'm telling you. I just need to get
yeah,
a
there's
new
something
phone.
wrong with your phone, man.
It's a bummer because I don't.
But you know what? Hey, I have a hookup for you. Gerard was telling me about this guy that replaces iPhone batteries and it does it for like $50.
We'll see. I'll hook it up.
Better than buying like a $500 phone.
That's true. If they announce the iPhone 8, I'm gonna grab that though.
Of course you will.
Well, I mean, like it's been a long time. Like
you've had it for a while.
Yeah, I could get that iPhone.
But I still have what? This is the
6C.
6C. I guess that's not too bad.
Your phone is newer than mine.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Actually.
But yeah. So let's get into this. So the gyms, number one, have a huge overhaul.
Right.
I still don't think it's like amazing, but I think like as far as like making do with this crappy battle system, like it's a huge step forward for them. So basically before, what would happen is if your Pokemon got beat out of a gym, it would just come right back to you. Mm-hmm. This was like to the point where you could like leave something in a gym down the street, walk home, and it's like already out of the gym, right? It's like a bummer, right?
Right.
But now there's the motivation system. So previously, a level 10 gym would have 10 Pokemon in it, which happened often to be something like 10 Blissies, Snorlaxes, Dragonites, things that are just like huge, buff, and it's like, you know, somebody who's like level 35. Like just somebody.
The gym next to our house, it like for months was all 10 of the same Pokemon because the people would visit them. Well, because nobody could beat them. First of all, no one could beat them. Second of all, like
packs, like
they were a blue team gym, but I could never put my Pokemon there because my Pokemon were like 1,000 CP lower than them. I'm on level 32. Like I'm pretty like into it, but like these guys are like way too into it.
So basically, it
basically only rewarded like the top.
They just sit there
players.
forever. The coins that you get just go to those guys, like no matter what. And unless you also were like a group of 5 dudes with like Dragonites, you'd never take the gym down. You know what I mean? So in the new system, only 6 Pokemon ever go into a gym. That's the first thing. And you can't put more than one of the same kind of Pokemon in the gym, which is like Christmas, right?
Right.
If there's already a Dragonite in the gym, you got to put something else in there. Also, the Pokemon in the gym stay or leave the gym based not on getting beaten directly, but rather on their motivation meter. So no matter what happens, your Pokemon gradually loses motivation over time. So just like the longer it's in there, the meter goes down. And also when they're beaten by trainers, that like lowers it a little bit more. And then once all its motivation is gone, then it will come back to you.
And then the nice thing too is that as it gets beaten, its CP like temporarily goes down. So like if you're at a gym and like, you know, if you're like a young player, like young in levels, and you go to this gym and you see that the motivation on one of the Pokemon is like almost gone, its CP will be like 1,000. And so like it's easier for players to
beat the Pokemon in the gyms. Yeah.
Right.
But also, so there's a way that you can fight back against this now too. And I think this was sort of meant to like keep the gyms that you hold sort of like on your daily route, if that makes sense. Because basically what you can do is you can use berries at your gyms to refill your Pokemon's motivation to keep them there longer.
Right.
So it's a much more active process. Like if you want to hold the gym, you got to go back there and like do some work every day to keep it there. And it allows players of lower levels to get their monsters in the gym because, you know, sometimes you don't want to come back to that gym and then your dude will jump out. And even if it's still a blue gym, like another dude can go in there basically.
Right.
Which is really cool. All gyms have also been turned into photo disc spinners, which is basically like a Pokespot. So you get items and interactions at gyms reward players with gym badges that can be upgraded with repeated gym interaction that provide like bonus rewards and items as you level them up, basically, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is really cool. That's like a new sort of like RPG mechanic that's really neat that encourages you to go to a lot of gyms and like interact with a lot of gyms, which is cool. Can you actually give berries to other Pokemon?
Yes, you can.
So like if you're in a blue gym and you're like, man, these guys are rough, like you can just like bury them all?
Yeah, and in fact, I had an Espeon at a gym that was that's like nearby my work, but it's on like a street that like not a lot of people walk on because there's not really houses there. It's just kind of like a business park, and so like I'd put one of my Pokemon there, and I guess whoever works in that building was a blue team fan because my Espeon was gone for like a week because somebody just kept feeding it berries, and I didn't go back there, but like somebody else just kept on like doing that.
That's hard.
And you know, I would look at the gym and stuff, and I would see if there were Pokemon there, and the Pokemon just kind of like changed out every once in a while, but like somebody was keeping my Espeon in there, and I was grateful for it because when it came back, I got like 100 coins.
Yeah, I'm into it. But that's not even it, because the real thing that's exciting to me, I think this other thing is more exciting to me, because I kind of hate the gyms, just in general. Just because I'm just not a big fan of the battling.
That's fine.
And I know this is a battle thing as well, but it's a little bit different, so I think it's kind of cool. So the other huge feature that Pokemon Go added is raid battles. And basically the way this works is that one time per day, you can spin a gym and you get a raid pass, which is like basically like a gatekeeper to keep you from doing raids all day, but it lets you use a raid. It lets you do a raid, right?
Right.
So
you can also buy them in the shop.
What?
You can also buy them in the shop.
With money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can only be holding one of these at a time. And the way that it works is like this. So a large egg appears on top of a gym with a countdown timer, basically, right? And once the egg hatches, there's like a super good version of one of the Pokemon there that's able to battle. Like the raid that we did the other day when my phone was dying was a Muck. But I've seen all kinds. I've seen Arcanine, Magikarp. Who else?
Wheezing, like everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I've seen a Gengar raid. I wasn't able to go to that because it was in an airport.
But
I
it's
saw
like
a Tyranitar raid.
But this dude is like a buff MFer. He's like huge. So up to 20 people can join in on one raid, and they use their raid pass to battle, and they work together to bring down the Pokemon. If you beat the Pokemon within a 5-minute limit, you get a chance to catch the Pokemon with the Premier Balls that you earned during the fight based on how well your group did. So the better you play with the people that you're with, the better chance it is that you're going to get the Pokemon.
Right.
And beating the Pokemon also gets you new items, rare candies that are like basically just candies that you can use for any Pokemon, like in the same way that like a Magikarp candy levels up a Magikarp. These candies can work on any Pokemon, which is really cool.
Yes.
Golden raspberries, which are like the berry that is like the best for using in gyms to motivate Pokemon.
Right. It instantly refills your motivation.
And another big one for me is the technical machines, TMs, that you can actually use to change the attacks of your Pokemon, which is like, I mean, how often have you got that perfect Arcanine or that perfect Scyther, and then it has like some weird ass moves?
Yeah,
that, like, don't make any sense. Yeah, so the TMs are a big deal as well. So like now there's a lot more. I
haven't gotten one yet, but my sister got one, and she was like, she texted me, she was like, "What is a technical machine?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for you to ask me this."
Do they stay? do they stay? Like if you get it, like do you always have it?
You get it and then you can use it
once.
I think they're single use.
Oh man. All right. Well, save up, but at least there's a pathway for you to like create your Ultimate Warrior instead of having to like get lucky.
Yeah.
But that's Pokemon Go. I mean, I think this is like indicative of like, oh yeah, they like care, you know?
Yeah.
And then in a couple weeks, what is it? The 22nd of July, we're gonna have the big event in Chicago.
Yeah, Pokemon Go Fest.
I'm very interested to see what happens at that. I mean, I won't be able to make it obviously because we're gonna be in England at that time, but I'm very interested to see like what revelations are had at that. And I wonder if it's going to be like the kickoff to something that happens everywhere. You know, I mean, luckily we're going to be either in London or in Los Angeles, you know, or New York City, like big cities that will probably have events in them.
Right.
For that week, just in case they're like also legendary birds are everywhere this week, you know, something like that. But I'm very interested to just see how that event goes and what type of stuff they do. And I feel like trading cannot be far away at this point. Now that we're able to like edit our Pokemon like this, I think trading might be sooner than we expect, sooner than we think.
I know that they're trying to get it out as fast as possible.
Yeah. I mean, at Animation on Display this year, we saw this panel. I mean, we talked about it on the podcast at Animation on Display when we recorded our podcast live there.
Right.
But it seems like they're very committed to like not letting it just become some BS that they can like skate by with because so many people are playing it. Like they really want to do something good. But that's it for Pokemon Go for now. Next, let's talk about Pokemon competitive stuff. North American Pokemon International Championships happened this weekend. There were 3 live streams. There was like the TCG one, the VGC one, and then there's like the side channel one. People were in the Discord a little bit for it. It was fun times. I was watching it. It was a great time. Shout outs to Jaywitz, who Kelly actually saw when she was in New York.
I did.
They did the stream together. He was crushing it with his commentary. Shout outs to Ray Rizzo again, Gabby Snyder. Those are my 2 favorite commentators. That's awesome. And then, I don't know. Like, it was just a really good competition. There was a guy from Mexico. I forget his name, but he came basically out of nowhere and into the top cut in Masters, which was really cool. I think he got all the way to semifinals. I think he got like 3rd or 4th place. I think he got 4th place. But man, it was a good competition. But you can go watch VODs for that online, but it was really just every time they do something, it gets better and better when it's like one of the bigger ones. I know that they're struggling a little bit in some of the newer sort of like places where competitions are being held. I know that in South America, especially, they're having some trouble with the streams being as dependable as they'd like. And even for this, there was some hiccups and stuff, but like I believe in Play Pokemon. I think they're doing great. And speaking of improving upon last year, specifically, the details for the Pokemon World Championships in Anaheim are now available, and we got some pretty good news. This year, spectators are welcome into the event. It's going to be $10 to go in, which is hype for the whole weekend. Mm-hmm. And for purchasing the pass, you also get 2 free TCG booster packs, which are like $4 a piece anyway, usually. So we're talking low cost versus. Didn't
we mention? This happens before? This has happened before at a different competition, isn't that right?
I believe so.
I think so. So this is definitely good. I know after last year's no spectators rule, like they got a lot of flack for that. So it's a much larger convention center. It's a much larger like event.
This is like a Comic-Con sized convention center. Yeah.
Allowed.
Yeah, it's going to be hype. They have not yet opened registration to get passes. So just make sure you're paying attention to that. Mm-hmm. We don't really know the exact capacity of the venue or how much of the venue they are using. So there's a possibility it could sell out. But at the same time, unless they're doing something really sexy at this competition that I don't know about, I can't see that huge of a draw. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, we were in San Francisco, and it was pretty crazy in the lobby for the first day or two. But even then, like, I guess people weren't allowed in, but, like, it was still... I mean, they were slowly letting people in all day. And I think that the Anaheim Convention Center can handle the demands of this event.
Mm-hmm. I think so, too.
There is the downside that it's right next to Disneyland. So there's a lot more incentive for people to come to Anaheim than there is to go to San Francisco. Because, like, if you're not at the championship, you kind of have to, like, fend for yourself in the city rather than whatever. But you could just, like, jump to Disneyland. So we'll see what happens. All I know is that I'm going to this, and I'm excited. And they're having an Anaheim Open day of, like, last-minute tournament as well.
They are, yes.
I don't know what the registration is for that
I believe it's $30 to enter that.
Sure, but I just don't know when that happens or how.
Right. I'm on the Pokemon website right now, and there still is no it still says like you know, registration for spectators, and it has like tabs and everything, yeah. But there's no information on when it is available.
Yeah, and actually it's not $30 for the Anaheim Open. It's $15 for the Anaheim Open. The actual thing that costs $30 is the Last Chance Pokken tournament.
Oh, right.
Which will also be there. It's a qualifier, so you can actually enter into the actual tournament. Like, you could become the world champion if you're good enough at Pokken. That costs $30, and you get 6 booster packs with that. So that's like just like paying the registration 3 times. Like, you're good. It's also the Anaheim Open is $15 for juniors and seniors, and then $30 for masters. And obviously we'll be there, but I'm gonna see about registering for that competition, because if you don't need any points, I'm there. If I don't need any, what do you call it, CP, I will enter that tournament. That would be a really fun thing to do.
And I'm looking on the website right now, and it says things like badges and registration. Get complete details on how to register to attend. You click on that, and it goes to the website that like tells you how to do it, but there's no link to do it yet. So it's definitely not open as of Thursday the 6th. It is not open.
I feel it. Okay. So that's it for the news. But we have had no podcast for a week. So I think I'm going to go ahead and skip the discussment.
Sure.
We don't really have one, right?
No, not really.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and skip the discussment, and we're just going to jump right into the FANSWERS segment.
FANSWERS, da-da-da-da-da. FANSWERS, da-da-da-da-da.
Yep. This is the part of the program where we answer fan emails. You send those emails into thedexcast@gmail.com. Again, that's THEDEXCAST@gmail.com, and we'll read your emails live on the air, just like we're going to read these right now. First one comes from Ricky. It's called A Crazy Idea. Hey, Dex crew, this is Ricky. I hope you guys are doing well. Alex, I hope your tooth is feeling better. It is. And my thoughts also go out to Wallace. I hope he's doing better. Wallace had pancreatitis because he ate something bad for him. He's fine now. So amongst all the Pokemon news and speculation of a new game in the future for the Switch, I've been hearing many theories about what the new Switch core title game will be. For a new Gen to Gen 4 remakes to even another Gen 1 remake, it made me think of some ideas myself. So here's a crazy, far-fetched idea/theory for the next title that will immediately be met with nope, not happening. So I've been looking back at any hints in Sun and Moon for what the next game will be, and I immediately went to Dialga and Palkia being mentioned, and Cynthia showing up and stuff. But I also started looking at other cameos like Colress and Grimsley, as well as some Gen 5 feels from the new legendary forms for Sun and Moon, as well as the Alola region being a hotspot for trainers all over the world. It made me think of the World Tournament battles from Black and White 2, when gym leaders all over come to battle you. So there, you could say there are hints of Gen 5 in there as well. I also thought of this. Since they're using the Switch, they want to try and show off just how powerful the system is compared to past handheld consoles, and one way they can do that is showing how expansive they can make the Pokemon world seem in-game. With all that said, what if they're making a remake, but it's not just a Gen 4 remake? It's a combined Gen 4 and 5 remake called Pokemon White Diamond and Black Pearl. A sort of super remake that fuses two generations in a way that it will feel like an entirely new game, as opposed to the remakes we've seen so far. I know it's really out there and probably won't happen, but what do you guys think? Anyway, hope you guys have a good day. Best, Ricky.
Woo!
I think we're just in a sort of uncharted territory right now. You know what I mean?
I do believe that the first Pokemon core title that's coming out on the Switch will be a new title, because I think that would be an opportunity that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company would be like, you know, like we're not doing a remake right now. We're going to be focusing on a new title for this new console. However, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to like see a huge remake. The only thing about it, aside from like, you know, I think the hints in Sun and Moon, like there are Gen 4 stuff, there's Gen 5 stuff, like there is a lot of crossover there. It just, I guess to me, like from a dumb like businessy standpoint, like if you can make two different games and have them both be remakes, like, you know, you'd sell more copies, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's that. But I do think that it would be cool to, and then I don't know where Sinnoh and Unova are in relation to each other on the map. So I don't know like how you would go from one to the other, maybe by plane, maybe by surf, maybe by speedboat.
I still feel like we're going to get some type of Gen 7 game on the Switch, whether that be a remake or Ultra Sun and Moon. Maybe they'll name it something besides Ultra because it's on the Switch. Like Eclipse, because you put the Switch into the dock like an Eclipse. Yeah. But I think that basically they're just gonna give us a new gen on the Switch next time they do like a game that's exclusively on the Switch. I think it's gonna be just like Gen 8. I think it's gonna be a new region. I think it's gonna be new stuff. I don't know what the gameplay mechanics are gonna be like on that, but I think that if they are gonna dip back into a previous gen and we see that on the Switch before we see a new title, it's going to be something that's also on 3DS, and it's going to be very much a Gen 7 game. Because I still feel like we're going to get a Gen 7 game on the Switch of some kind. I just do. I don't know why I do. It just seems like it makes sense. Like if it's, I don't know, like.
Talk about far-fetched ideas, Alex.
It's not far-fetched. I think like, honestly, like, if I'm Nintendo right now, I need to show people that like Pokemon is going to the Switch and like Pokemon's coming to the Switch, but I feel like it's mixed messages to put out Ultra Sun and Moon, you know, 9 months after the Switch is released on a system that like the articles are all about like, is the 3DS dead? You know what I mean? I just don't see him doing that, but we'll see. I mean, who knows? You know, they haven't done that before. They've never split consoles like that on a game before, so we'll see. But I think they could. I just think they could. But yeah, thank you for that email.
I think all ideas are good ideas, unless it's like remake Gen 1, but make it like the old game.
I don't know. And we still have to see what Virtual Console is all about.
That's true. We haven't had much of that.
Like, how insane would it be if they were like, also, digital 3DS games work on the Switch, or like something.
You'd be sick.
Yeah, I don't know. This next one comes from G. It's called A Sincere Thanks Dexcast. Ooh, excuse me. I have coffee burps.
Gross, dude.
Dear Alex, Kells, Jimmy, and Pooch King Wallace, I just want to thank you for your sound content. Literally every week is an interesting nugget of Pokemon-related trivia. I'm currently studying to be an electrical engineer away from home in the Merchant Navy, and your podcasts and videos are some of the things that I look forward to every week as a home comfort. I followed the journey of the National Dex right from the first video and podcast. Shoutouts to the return of the awesome mini Dex and that wicked Trico episode, Septa for the win. Although Sapphire was my first game and still remains my favorite region after crushing Steven with Cromwell, my shiny Aggron, and Oros, I've really enjoyed playing through Pokemon Moon whilst I've been away as downtime for work. I'm currently trying to build a team around Sandstorm at the moment to get some juicy plays with my Garchomp called Darude. Lol, lol, lol.
Mm-hmm.
Can you regale us of stories from your favorite and most intense matches you've played online or against a pal? What are your favorite strats? Thanks from the middle of the ocean somewhere, G. Hashtag hope as always. Hashtag still trying to find the golden octillery. Hashtag but how could I? P.S. Sorry for the mid to long length of this email. G, it's not a long email. Don't worry, bro. Stories of my favorite, most intense matches that I've played online or against a pal. What are my favorite strats? Lately, I've been playing a lot with my like Jolteon Espeon team, which is basically a troll team at this point. I have no delusions of grandeur here, but like I love bringing in Jolteon and Espeon because like out the gate, because people are always like, what? Jolteon and Espeon? Get real. And they don't really know what to do. And so I usually have Tapu Lele in the back, and so depending on what needs to happen, like Jolteon has Shadow Ball, so he'll hit like some of the Ghost types for bad damage, or Psychic types like that don't expect it, which is really cool. But sometimes I'll switch the Jolteon out for Tapu Lele, because a lot of the times what happens is they try and hit me with a priority move because Jolteon's really and Espeon are both pretty fast. Jolteon especially is like fast, but Espeon's also pretty fast. And so basically what I like to do is I like to switch Jolteon out for Tapu Lele because that stops priority moves in their tracks, because that's what Psychic Terrain does. And then I'll just like jam on like their Garchomp or their somebody buff who's going to cause me a problem. And I'll just use the Psychic Z move with Espeon because Espeon has it and not Tapu Lele. So that like Tapu Lele comes in, changes the Psychic Terrain, gets the damage boost from Psychic moves, hits them with a Z move, and then they're like, oh! And then, you know, that's like the big way to do it. And then also my Jolteon has Synchronoise. So sometimes when I'm dealing with Tapu Koko, what I'll do is I'll switch Espeon for Tapu Lele, still get the Psychic Terrain just to close out the Tapu Koko's Electric Terrain. Because people always think that because it's Electric Terrain that I'm going to attack with an Electric move with my Jolteon. But then Tapu Lele will come in and I'll use Synchronoise with my Jolteon, and that'll hit the Tapu Koko because they're both Electric types. And it does like half his health.
Sick.
Yeah, and then you can just follow that up, you know, however you need to, because he still is fast old Jolteon and he has a Focus Sash, so he's pretty good. And then the other thing that I've been liking to do lately is that I'm still using a Mudsdale. I feel like eventually I'm going to need to switch that guy out for a Garchomp or something that's a little bit faster and more useful with its moveset. But Mudsdale is there to deal with Muck primarily, and he has high horsepower and stuff, but the thing that I love to do with Mudsdale is that I have a variant that has Rest and Chestoberry. And so I'll let him get all the way down with that high defense that he gets from Stamina. And then I'll just rest. And then you just watch him like forfeit. It's a great feeling. So hopefully that's a thing. And if you're doing a Sandstorm team, can I recommend using Palisand and Gigalith on that team and using Smeargle? Check out Marcus Statter Strategy. Or watch our Palisand episode that's going up on Tuesday. It's going to be hype. What?
Spoilers.
Whatever.
JK.
Nobody's like, it's not going to hurt us.
Yeah, you're right.
It's only going to make the hype larger. And also your email is not very long, so don't feel bad.
Let me regale you.
Yeah, regale.
I haven't done competitive battling for a long time. I think that when I got most into it was actually in Gen 5. But one of my favorite things to do, I had an evil team, like a status team, that had a Sableye on it with Prankster, which I loved because Sableye could do the Will-O-Wisp. It could get out like a taunt or something. Sure. I can't remember exactly what the moveset was, but that was always like super, super good. But for a while, I was using a Togekiss with a Paraflinch strat, but it just for the lulz, I also put attract on it. So so first of all, you get like a higher incidence of things happening with like Serene Grace on that Togekiss. So you give it air slash, you give it paralysis move, you give
that is like some
attract,
gnarly.
and then
That's
like
some gnarly stuff. I don't like that. You get me so good with that, it makes me crazy.
Well, essentially, like it would happen like a couple times. Like if you can get somebody to protect the Togekiss so that it doesn't like it doesn't go down, you get that paraflinch out, and that's all they're expecting. But then if you also throw an attract on there, like suddenly they're in love. They're either in love, they're flinching, or they're paralyzed. Everyone dies. That was like Forfeit City. And you know what? Like a lot of people would give you grief. At least they used to. I don't know exactly how competitive scene is doing now. A lot of people would give you grief for using like stall teams and mix them up teams. To me, I think that's just like another way of playing. And though like maybe it's not awesome or fun for you to feel like you got trapped, it's a smart way to play. It's a smart and defensive, cool way to play.
There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, you guys. That's the real thing to take away from this.
I know. I would get people like on Showdown like telling me that I was like a cheap player, and that like I wasn't really good. I just had a team that worked, and I'm like, well, to me that sounds like.
Did you tell them that they were just whiny babies?
Good. Usually yes, and then they would leave. But whatever.
Righteous.
All I'm saying is like that guy that used that Wailord team with no energy. It's just a deck out team. Like
that's what you like.
That's I mean, like I would. Yes, it would suck to play against that, but I think it's a darn clever strategy when it works. And I know that there's a way to get around it if you have, because as soon as you have on an opponent that has ways to get cards out of your discard pile, you're done. You can't win.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So
I guess what I mean to say is that those kinds of teams are generally high risk, high reward. And so like
they
if
require
you're able
you to play pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're able to shut that down before they can get started, like you're going to win every time.
Exactly.
But if you don't play smart and you don't shut them down and let them do what they need to, the one thing that they need to do, then you're going to lose, and you should lose at that point.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Thank you for that email. This next one comes from Average Trainer Anthony, and it's called New Pokemon Prestige Mechanic Idea for Pokemon Switch. Ready? Hello, Alex, Jimmy, and PokeKellz. Average Trainer Anthony here, and I thought of a cool way to get Pokemon Max IVs in the new Pokemon game for the Switch. I know bottle caps are the fastest way we've ever had to train our Pokemon, but I think that Festival Plaza stuff is boring to do. I don't disagree. The idea I came up with is, suppose you have your level 100 Charizard with whatever random IVs it has. Now you can reset that Charizard to a level 1 Charmander with appropriate moves your Charizard had, because Charmander can't do Wing Attack. However, now it has 3 perfect IVs. Now when you get to the level 100 again, the other 3 IVs max, and now you've grinded yourself a battle-ready Pokemon. I think this way is a bit more fitting in the Pokemon world rather than magical bottle caps or releasing dozens of neglected Pokemon to the wild. Just work hard. Pros will excel and newbies can attempt, although 200 levels is a daunting task. Plus, if there's a move only basic Pokemon can learn that you missed out on, it's a second chance to grab it for your stage 2. Thanks for reading my average length email. No problem. It was very average length. Average Trainer Anthony, hashtag I really like your show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hashtag Pokemon Switch hype. Me too. I feel it. I like this idea. I think this is very direct and simple. I think it would take a long time, but I think that like a lot of people would appreciate something like this in the game.
I think it would turn me off.
It would turn you off?
It would turn me off of like training them.
Well, I'm saying like imagine you have that Pokemon that you played through the game with, like what's that Sandshrew?
Moe,
right? He's not perfect.
No.
Right? But if you were like, I want to take Moe to Worlds, all you got to do is just grind it out. And that's cool.
Like, but I can also just like get bottle caps.
Sure, you could also get bottle caps, but I feel like it would take about the same time if you weren't trading.
The only concern that I have with that is that like doesn't that kind of negate breeding?
It doesn't negate breeding.
It just like makes it less.
It just gives you an alternate path. Like leveling a Pokemon to level 100 3 times or 2 times or whatever. Like that's. I feel like
for me, I just that makes me like not want to do it.
I hear you, but I'm just saying it's all going to be a time sink. And for people who don't want to learn an extra skill or like do some nonsense like fishing for 5 hours, 9 hours, whatever. Like I feel like just having a path to perfect competitive ready Pokemon that just requires you to grind, I think is a good addition to the game. Does that make sense? I feel like
It does.
I feel like it's the same thing as Pokemon Go, like opening up pathways to things that you want to do. I feel like Pokemon should be considering its game a game that is almost like not an MMO, but just something that people are playing constantly. I think that'd be good. Also, another thing that would be cool is rewards for online battles.
That's true.
Like, give me some bottle caps if I do it in under 5, if I win in under 5 turns, or
Yeah, or like, instead of like I don't know. I feel like a good opportunity for the festival plaza is like those global events. Instead of giving us rare candies for participating, give bottle caps for participating.
Bottle caps, or like some sort of like gift box, loot box, something cool. But yeah, I like this idea. I like the idea of multiple sort of, like multiple pathways. I like that. That's like
I do too. I do like a multiple pathways idea. I think this specifically, while it would work for a lot of people, I would not like it.
Sure.
But again, that's my personal opinion, and by no means does it represent the opinions of everyone listening.
But also, like, I mean,
that's
as a game designer, though, wouldn't you be like, maybe this is a good idea to put into the game for that type of person?
Yeah, or something else along.
I mean, that's
lines.
what really I think works really well about Destiny, for example, is that there's like a million different things to do to get your character to that max level. You know what I mean?
Right. Like you can do competitive, or if you don't like that, you can just do raids. If you don't like that, then you can just like grind.
Or you could do like Iron Banner, or you can do whatever. Like it's cool.
Yeah, I feel you.
But yeah. Next email comes from Ace Trainer Gabe.
Cool.
Good features in Ultra Sun and Moon. Hello, Alex, Kells, sometimes Jimmy with the potential guest. Ace Trainer Gabe here, wanting to share with you what I would like to see in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Nice.
While I highly enjoyed Sun and Moon, it did have its fair share of issues. The Festival Plaza was not a great replacement for the PSS, and while I don't think Game Freak will get rid of it, I hope they will change it to make it work more smoothly and find a better use for the festival coins, which I really didn't use. The SOS system, while a great idea in theory, didn't work out well in the games. Please just let us be able to choose which Pokemon to capture. Also, while not a big issue, I would like it if the avatar was more expressive rather than just having a dead gaze all the time. Finally, I really hope there will be a longer post-game than Sun and Moon's. The Ultra Beast quest was too short and linear for my taste. Anyway, those are the big changes I would like to see in Ultra Sun and Moon. What do you guys think? Do you agree, or do you have other ideas? Do you think it's possible Ultra Sun and Moon will be the best Pokemon games yet? Maybe Game Freak will surprise us, and they'll be just like Dark Souls 3. Who knows? Hashtag Ultra Sun and Moon. Hashtag Pokemon Switch hype. Hashtag Pokemon rules. Hashtag sorry for the long email. Not a long email. Hashtag later man. Some of this stuff, like, okay, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the Festival Plaza, for example. Like, I don't think it's bad. I think it's just like, either you're going to like doing that, and that's going to be a pathway for you to do stuff, or it's not. And I think, like, that's the kind of thing that I like about Pokemon. Like, the same way that, like, contests are just, like, I don't have to do contests if I don't want. Or the photographing thing.
Battle
like,
Frontier. Yeah,
I don't want to get rid of those things. I just want there to be more alternatives to, like, this type of thing. And there's not really much that's, like, unmissable from the Festival Plaza. And as far as it being a portal to playing online and stuff, I think it actually works better than PSS in those ways. What else? The SOS system. I have no problem with the SOS system, other than I wish that I could just turn it off
when needed.
Like to save myself time when I want.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like maybe SOS battles aren't a thing till after you beat the game, or you have an item that like
activates one.
The sonic inhibitor that like makes it so that even if they call for help, nobody can hear them no matter what, or something like that.
Sonic inhibitor.
You know what I'm saying?
No. That's actually a clever idea.
But as far as like expressive avatar, 100%.
Oh yes, definitely.
As far as longer post game, that's kind of the point of these second games, is that the post game is long. Let us be able to choose which Pokemon to capture. I feel like there has to still be an element of a hunt to obtaining a wild Pokemon, or else it's not really a hunt anymore. And then it's just like a long ass version of picking off a list, which I'm just like not super into. What about you?
I'm really excited to see the alternate story. I don't know if that's going to be alternate universe, alternate whatever. I'm sorry, I'm getting sick and I keep choking on my spit. Really, really gross. I think that the thing that I would most want, that I would be really excited for, and that I hope they enter in, is I really would like to explore Ultra Space a little bit. Because we just got to like put our little toe in there during Sun and Moon. And if this is Ultra Sun and Moon and it's focusing on, at any point more on Necrozma and like Origins of Cosmog, I want all that lore, and I want to be able to like go into Ultra Space for a little bit. Maybe there's like an area that takes place in Ultra Space that you can just like, you know, it's still Alola, but you can also go into like Ultra Space Alola, and like it's alternate and weird. And
Like
I think
Link
that would
to
be
the
really
Past
cool.
or something.
Yeah, so I think I'm excited to see like new locales and new places because like in Black and White 2, they added like a couple towns. Like there was that what is it, Paniola Town?
The like Cowboy Town.
Cowboy Town, like that was really cool, really exciting, and so I think that would be a cool thing to see in Ultra Sun and Moon.
I think
expansions.
I think it's about time they give us a battle simulator. I just want Pokemon Showdown. Like I like the rental teams a lot. I think that's like one step away from just letting you make whatever team you want, as long as it's just like not, you can't like rank with it. I think that's fine.
Yeah, as long as you can like just try it.
If it has
test
its own ladder, great. That's like unofficial. That would be cool. But like, I just want there to be a battle simulator built into the game because I feel bad. Like I've been planning my streaming, you know, for the decks and stuff. And I've been like looking at like I have to like do 2 setups. I have to do a setup for Showdown and a setup for the 3DS. And it's like, I feel like I'm like hacking or something. Like I feel, it just feels dirty. Not that I don't like Pokemon Showdown, please. Like that's not what this is about. It's just about like, I feel like there should be something like that in the real game because of how much playtesting matters in choosing what your team's going to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's just like a little bit of a disconnect between the way that the game works and the way that the online works. But that's just me. Let's do like 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. This one is from I'm just going to go ahead and say Emperor Cubone. Just go with Emperor Cubone. This is from Emperor Cubone. Super fun discovery in Pokemon Go. What's going on, Alex, Kells, and Jimmy, and Pupboy Wallace? I don't get to play Pokemon Go as much as I'd like since I live in a more rural area, and Pokestops are few and far between. However, I was playing a bit today and went to catch some random Sentret. It was taking forever, but once I finally did, the Sentret was whisked away to a screen I had never seen before and started glowing with a strange energy. The words Ditto was caught appeared, and the silly pink blob revealed his true form. Needless to say, I was shocked not knowing that Ditto was even in the game yet, let alone that he would be transformed into other Pokemon. I know I'm probably super late to the party about knowing this, but it was a truly fantastic Pokemon surprise as if I were on my own journey.
Yay!
Off topic, what do you think about evolutionary stones as a hold item that boost the power of their elements, i.e. Leaf Stone boost grass type attacks? Even if it only worked with the Pokemon that can actually use the stones, it would give a use to the multiple extras I have in my bag after already completing the Pokedex. Anyway, I love the decks. It's always fun listening to my Poke friends, and you were all a big inspiration for me to start my own YouTube channel. Yay. Hashtag not used to hashtags. Hashtag are there supposed to be spaces? No. Hashtag Mega Empoleon. Yes. Hashtag Team Mystic. Yes. Hashtag sorry for the long email. It's not long. Hashtag shut up. I know it's not long. Okay. Shut up. How could you? Shut up. Just kidding. Hashtag but why would you? Hashtag but should you? Hashtag blasting off again.
Woo.
That's a great story. I love that you didn't know about it. I love that it was just a fun surprise.
Yeah, that's very, very exciting. Yeah, Ditto has been in the game for a while now, but like it's very rare. It's hard to catch, and like you know, it's always Pokemon that are ones that you kind of overlook because you're like, I already have 100 of these, and so you just like don't catch them, and then suddenly it's there. So congratulations. I've only seen 2 Ditto my entire play time of Pokemon Go, and I do play it a lot. So I'm really, really happy that you got the goods.
Yeah. As for the evolutionary stone thing, I think there's no problem with that. I think that would be hype.
Yeah.
It's just they have the same effect as like the little like other things like the seed and stuff like that just already boost. If it was just similar to that, but for people that use the stones, that'd be cool. Like Leafeon with a leaf stone, be cool. Not that it uses a leaf stone, does it?
No, it's Mossy Rock.
All right, how about a Jolteon with a Thunderstone?
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's all good stuff.
Sames.
Love it. Anything else? Let's do one more. Sounds good?
Yeah. One more's good.
Okay, this is from Nymphia. That's all I'm going to say. Epic Nymphia. Hi, sexy Dexes. Hi, guys. It really bothers me when someone says a Pokemon sucks because I personally think each Pokemon has its purpose in certain situations. Because I have used these Pokemon people accuse for being terrible and I win battles. What's your opinion on this? Also, it bugs me when people talk bad on Ash, calling him a terrible trainer and giving him a hard time about never winning. But people who think that are fans and should know the true meaning of Pokemon is that Pokemon is more than just winning a league. Kells, go back to anime recaps. Ash isn't the best or perfect. He's flawed. He makes mistakes. That makes him a likable human. You want to root for him. He cares more about the bond with his Pokemon than fighting, even if it means he must let them go. He can grow like us, but his heart is fine. Red is too perfect. That's boring. Red does what he's told. He has no real character. He's just about a dream. He's basically the kid version of Kakashi from Naruto. He follows orders and does it well. He doesn't let others slow him down even if they need his help. It's about finishing the mission no matter what. Narrow vision. Ash is more like Kid Obito, waiting to take a side path and help others out even if it causes him to be late to his mission because he can learn to grow from them. And that lesson could help him on his mission, and he likes to help others out even if it hurts his own goals. Ash cares more about others' goals. He isn't selfish like Red is. Ash enjoys helping others out, and it isn't a chore. He's about the journey, not the destination. Thank you. Hashtag, is Ash's mindset a good mindset and competitive? That's what I have used. Hashtag, every Pokemon has potential. Hashtag, anime life lessons. Hashtag, Pokemon are friends, not tools. Hashtag, collab with Island Arcade. He's a great YouTuber and he lives in Hawaii and does great lore about Pokemon. That's a long hashtag. Also, sorry for the long email. Not a long email. Don't worry.
Not a long email.
I get a lot of emails about this.
You know what? Let me tell you for real. I don't know where. I mean, we've done very, very many podcasts. I'm sure I've talked about Ash in the past, and even if in the past I have like kind of made fun of Ash for being like a bad trainer and using like the wrong moves and stuff, like make no mistake, my true feelings on Ash is that he's a great protagonist simply because like he's a child. Well, he's characterized very, very well. He's a child. He like learns, he grows, and yeah, he's always like ready to help his friends. Sun and Moon is awesome. Ash does not always win. Like sometimes he'll like switch out his Pokemon or release them, and you're like, why? But like you're absolutely right with everything that you just said. It's not about him becoming like the best battler in the world. Ash's goal is always to become a Pokemon master. And that is very different from becoming champion or like becoming the league. Like whenever Ash says like, I want to be a Pokemon master, it's not always him about to battle. Sometimes it's like, I'm going to help this Pokemon that's hurt, or like, you know what, these Tauros are rampaging. Like, let's find a way to stop them. Like, let's see what the episode of the anime where Ash has to like do his Island Kahuna trial.
Right.
And the Kahuna Hall is like, you have to do this without battling, but you have to get all of these Rattata and Raticate to stop eating these crops. And Ash is like thinking about it for the whole day, and it's like really racking on him. And like, he's like, I don't know what to do. And so he goes and he like fights the big Young Goose, and he's like, I need your help, Young Goose. Like, you can drive out these Rattata and Raticate. And Young Goose is like, I respect you. And he like goes and helps him and gets and wins. And that's how he wins his like Alola trial. And yes, he's a 10-year-old. He's not smart. He's not like particularly like, he's not like a philosopher. He's definitely not the best battler. There's tons of better battlers than him. But like, he always like tries to think through and like find like an alternate solution like other than the obvious. And if you continue to watch that and you continue to think of Ash in that way, like I feel like you like him a lot better. Yeah. Also watch the anime in Japanese and you will your perspective on the whole thing will entirely change.
Ash is a totally different character in Japanese, for sure.
And it's so much more easier. It's so much easier in Japanese with the Japanese Ash voice to recognize how young he is, and it justifies a lot of his like weird behaviors. This is something, this is like a big segue, I know, but like Game of Thrones, for example, I read the books and all of the characters are much younger than they appear in the show. So like Jon Snow, for example, he does a lot of really, really stupid things like throughout his like character arc. And like in the show, you're like, why is he doing these stupid things? But in the book, you're reading it and you're like, this guy's 15 years old. Like, of course he's doing this stupid thing. He's a 15-year-old.
Yeah, in the show, he's like a hot adult who's just like dumb as hell.
Right. But and so I think that like the context of the character and age especially is really important in considering whether or not someone's a perfect character or not.
Yeah.
Ash is 10. Like he's a kid. He acts like a kid.
Yeah,
like,
he'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Yeah. But anyway, I agree with you. Everything that you said.
I do believe in Pokemon friendship. I do believe in it, and I think it's a fine attitude for competitive, as long as you're willing to lose sometimes. Does that make sense? That's the trade-off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you can do Pokemon friendship. Obviously I do that a lot. Like, I love my weirdo teams with like my favorite Pokemon. But if you're doing that and also expecting to be the best battler in the world, like you need to like like think a little bit more realistically about the kind of Pokemon experience you want to have.
There's a place for those people, and it's necessary that they're there because it keeps the dream alive of like that random strat that's gonna like win.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that happens, like sometimes you get the Pachirisus, sometimes like you get the Raichus of the world out there, but at the same time, that's not the person that's going to win every single time. And if if that person's there just to inspire somebody else to change their ways a little bit, I think that's good. I think that's
awesome,
valuable.
yeah.
So hopefully that's enough for you. And that's enough for us today, as that was the last email. Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you guys want to share your emails with us, send them in to thedexcast@gmail.com. Again, that's THEDEXCAST@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about Pokemon Worlds. Let us know what you think about the internationals. Let us know what you think about Pokemon Go. Let us know what you think about Ultra Sun and Moon, Pokemon on the Switch. Just keep all those good emails coming. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening. I'm Alex.
I'm PokeKellz.
And we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.